Yeah, this is a weekly vlog showing the making of an animated short film, animated horror short film in Unreal 5. I'm your host, co-host Miguel Ortega, and this is Tran.
Hello.
Yeah, today we're functioning on half a break, so I'm doing this. So yeah, so last week, let me just make sure this is working correctly. Okay, so last week we were talking about.
My screen's on share.
Yeah, let me just. What do you want to go first? Let me just show a little bit.
Yeah, do that.
So last week, what was I thinking? Last week we started lighting some shots and we finished them up. So I just wanted to show progress on that. So we were working on.
Let's say they have a hard time hearing you. Your mic is faced the other way. There you
Can you hear me now?
go. Yeah.
Does that sound better?
I would think so.
Okay, that sounds better. All right, so sorry about that, guys. So this is a vlog. We're just showing the weekly making of the short film. So last week we started finishing up this sequence, and we did some shots like live. So let's just go through them real quick. So one thing we did this week is at Gnomon, I was able to get a bunch of the students and record them talking, like the chanting, so you could hear it now in the background. So this is all the stuff we worked on last stream.
Well, now it's final.
Yeah. This shot, we're still going to work on some of the extras. But you can see it came out pretty nice. So last week we didn't have any of the face stuff or the clothing simulated.
Or the shot modeling.
I mean, last week we didn't have anything. But yeah, now it's all there. So I'm pretty happy with this shot in particular because we wanted to transition out of here and we weren't sure how to do it. So we thought this was a cool way of doing it. We had thought about it originally. That's why we had the motion capture of her kicking. But we put the leopard mask in there, which has a metaphorical meaning as well, of course, because she's mad at all of them and she thinks it. So we thought that was a cool hard cut out of that. So we're going slow motion here. This one we didn't have to do any cloth sim because it was close up. This one we had to do an entirely new piece. This one worked out pretty good. Like when I look at it, it almost looks like the cartooniest of all our expressions, but that is completely recorded off of a real face. So that is that's me. So
That's you.
So we're out of that, and now here we want to put more extras here and there. In particular, we have some woman extras that we never use, so we want to put them in there. Some people around the fire or whatever. So let's see what some of the people are. So Dave Olson, what's up, man? Shahab. What's going on? I just wanted to say your live is really helping me on my project. Thanks a lot for sharing. Thank you. Glad it's helping. So so then we're on to this other sequence here. So we'll keep working on this. So this one we have no facial animation at all on anything. There's no music, but you can start getting an idea of how we plan on editing this together. And we'll put some more shots in today, so I'll just play it. But remember, no facial stuff on anything at the moment. This is all pretty rough. So this is supposed to be a short scene. It is a short scene. Not supposed to be. It is a short scene. But we wanted to show how badass Ala was compared to her sister as a hunter, because it's going to tie into the end of the story. So I wanted it to be really quick. And we wanted to start getting the mood of the whole thing to feel much darker. So from now on, everything is just going to be very foggy. So this is supposed to be the morning. That's why we have the birds and everything, even though it is a very stylized morning. But very happy with this. The other thing we started doing here, which Tran is going to show you guys in a second, is how we started using the atlases to kind of make the wear on this as the spikes hit. So if you notice, when she hits boards, it is creating wear on the wood, and that's just a contaminated decal, not an atlas. What's an atlas then?
I think it's the same thing.
That's just what they call it on Megascans.
Well, it's called Atlas and decal. I don't know why. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the father comes in and he asks her where the sister is, and she just doesn't really care. And the father gets upset and tells her to go find the sister. And this is where it's gonna lead to a big confrontation, which Tran is going to show you now some progress.
Some
on
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll share my screen or.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, what did I do last week? Shot modeling and cloth sim. Shot modeling can take a long time depending on the actions of the character and how broken the forms are. So that's sequence where she kicks the door open, her arms are swinging, her legs are kicking. That took a while to actually correct the forms. So I spent my time doing that. And then in between that, I started working on a couple of things. One of the big things was, if you were watching last week, you would have seen a clip with this thing through Ala's eye.
I could show it if you want. No,
Yeah.
let's not show it. Or
Yeah,
should
I
show
guess
it?
let's hold it back.
Yeah, let's hold it back.
Okay, so because we're already spoiling a lot already.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what I did is I took the mask and then I repositioned kind of the sphere a little bit because of the way it was going through the head. And then I had to break it apart. So as far as how I did this, it's pretty simple. I just grabbed the original mask. And then from here, just start tracing out certain parts. So, for me, it's just coming over here, masking a shape, for example, like this, for example, with a little bit more care than that, right? Then I would polygroup that. So I would now have this polygroup. And then I would just hide it. And then delete it, right? And then clean that up. So that's how that was done. What I ended up with here were two pieces I broke into. This one and the small piece. I just did that one just in case we needed something there. But, okay. Now once I had that, I then had to work on Ala. So this is what she looks like without it. Okay. So sculpted this damage. And it's artistic. They're not real skin, right? They're sculpted people. So I decided to crack her a bit like a doll. I mean, we talked about how it should look. So she has a kind of cracked surface that's not human. And then inside you would see like tissue.
It's a spear.
Yeah, it's a sphere going
Yeah, it's going through her face.
through her head. And you can see the slash. It's super artistic. So, and then the other thing is we want to keep the same mesh. So there's some technical things
Dave
like
Olson says it looks super cute.
super cute. Wait until you see the textured version.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to keep the same topology. Didn't want to change this so much. So the base mesh is still the same so that the rig can still work. So there are limitations to how much you can break it before you destroy your UVs and your model completely. So this still has the original UVs. Okay, so once this was done here, ready? Okay, this is kind of, it's bloody, but remember it's not real, right? So then here's the texture over here. So I have the mask on top, and then I have placed the final sphere, which is broken, and there is a lot of blood that's very glistening. So if I come here and hide the mask, we won't see the lower part in the first scene. You'll probably see something like this, right? And you can already see it's like, yeah, it's probably not good. And then when we have the,
You have to zoom into that.
let's see, how do I do full screen again? There we are. So you can see what she should look like, at least a suggestion of it. And then I'm going to hide the mask. And this is what we have here as her final look. Okay, which is pretty bloody. Okay. This is what I spent my week doing, making a very messed up version of her. And then texturing it on top of that and putting a lot of blood.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I did, which was pretty fast, taking away from the blood, is I just made these decals. So I just took some Megascan textures and then created a couple materials. As you can see, you can move this around. And then that's it.
Well, I mean, do you want to explain what that is? That's
Okay, so let's explain it properly. So what I did here is I went to Megascans and I let's discard this. That's gruesome. Let me open the scene. So if I show you here what this original texture was, hold on. Having mouse problems. Here we are. So I grabbed this here. So this is basically a plane, like this, a square plane, which is very important for it to be square for me because if the texture is going to be exported as a square. And this also takes up one entire UDIM, right? That's important too. And then I brought in the texture from Megascan. So this is actually what it looks like. And then of course I picked out textures that show wood damage, something like this, okay? And then I just started masking out areas. So for example, the first decal decided, okay, let's have it like this. We do also have paint, right? That's on it. So what I did is I created a mask like this. Now this doesn't match the paint color, which is fine because what I end up exporting is just basically this. And then I export this mask separately, which is this is the mask of the paint. So now if we check out the material, maybe not this one.
You'd be surprised. Maybe there is a zombie sequel for her.
Yeah. So then this is what it looks like in here. And then what I have here is a separate control for the actual paint color and the color here. So if we take a look at this, it looks kind of blended. But I can actually tint this and change this color. And if it crosses over, for example, to two colors, I also have an opacity set up where I can just hide that. So it's pretty simple. It's not too complicated. And then I have just a couple of variations of this decal so that they don't all look exactly the same. And then Miguel can place them. And I just migrate this out for Miguel to use in just a kind of a clean folder down here. And then again, the shader setup is pretty simple. I just create a material, and I set my material domain to default decal, my blending mode translucent. And the only thing that's a little bit more complicated is just the paint mask. But that's it. Still pretty basic.
All right. So I guess I'll take over. So how do I do that?
Just load your screen. Yeah, there you
It's
go.
already there. So those decals are then animated. So again, if we play this little part again, you can see they start appearing. And all that basically is you could just load these. The best way to get decals is kind of like the old, not old because it's still used, but like 3D projections in Maya. So here they are, and you can see in my sequencer, I have every one of the decals here. They're kind of a pain in the ass to use, because basically when you try to project them, there's like a little stick that points to the direction that you want to project at. And one of the things that I'll give you a good little technique that we learned on this is that it'll project on everything that happens to fall in its way. And it was very hard to get the spears to touch the wood without it projecting onto the spears as well. So just make sure that if you have something like that, if you go to the object, you could turn receive decals on or off. So you could see if I select this and I put receive decals, you're going to start seeing the wood chips projected all across the spears, which looks really ugly. And then when you turn that off, when you turn it off, it'll only affect the stuff that has accept decals on. So hold on, I'll answer that question in a second. So you can see here, all I'm doing is I'm going to each one of the decals and then keying the visibility, so on or off, and just getting the timing correctly. These spears themselves are just a bunch of alembic caches, so they're all just one single alembic cache. So then loading up the alembic cache and then kind of manually placing the damage and then timing it to the alembic cache. And that's it. So let me see what the questions are here. So I haven't seen every stream. What's the status of this movie and when do we all get to see it? It should be out. Well, the good thing is we only have like one big scene left besides the one that we're working on right now, which is pretty short. So we have to do this. We're going to get a lot of this done. I think we're going to be done with this scene this week. And then we're on to the last scene, which is basically our confrontation. So, yeah. So, all right. So I have to keep working on this. Give me 1 second, guys.
He will be right back. Let's see the comments. David Kwok, looking so good, guys. Makes you want to stop being lazy and start some personal projects. Hopefully, our project motivates you. It's hard. It's tough.
Okay, sorry. I just have like an allergy attack today, so I just had to get a piece of paper. So, okay. So let's start going here. So, all right, so let's play this one more time. I know this is annoying, but this is part of editing. So we have her, boom. So there's no clothing simulation here. Father comes in, and now let's get the rest of the shots in there. So I want her to turn and run to the father. So, all right, so let's get that going. So I'll just open up Maya. And look at David Quagg. I just saw them. So we'll get the rest of this going, and we'll also export the father. Okay. Some of this stuff starts going slow because we're dealing with just massive, massive files, so hang tight. So this was all motion captured at Gnomon. We have an XN suit, so we recorded this at their stage. And so this we already got. So this is the part I want now. The turn here and running to the dad. And we'll just go up to, let me see, so we'll go from here, from the point that she turns her head. So let's do 650. To 880. Okay. So one thing you might notice is, or you might think is like, okay, if you have all of this, if you're going to use all of this sequence here, which we are at some point, like you can see we have the entire sequence mocapped, and it's already been cleaned up by Christian Borza. So if we have all of this, why wouldn't we just bring in just one gigantic Alembic file? And we've tried, and that would actually be my preferred method, especially early on. The problem is the file sizes get astronomical because an Alembic file is basically just a blend shape for every single frame of every object. So if you have 1,000 frames, you'll have 1,000 hair pieces, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 right eye, 1,000 teeth, 1,000 tongues, 1,000. It starts getting pretty crazy. So file sizes become unwieldy, and then you just want to just die. It's already going pretty slow, and there's not a lot of stuff in my scene. So all right, so this is what I want. So let's just grab her at the moment. I'm going to select the clothing as well, which normally I wouldn't want because the clothing would all be simulated separately. But right now I don't care about that because this is all temporary. Once we get like the final, once we're happy with it, I'll re-export it again without the clothing, and it'll be shot modeled. And we'll put the facial expressions, which we don't have any of that right now. So right now we're just figuring out cameras. So I'm going to select this right here, go to cache, Alembic cache, export selection to Alembic. And let's just export this out. So beach. So we'll rename this. And I'll just save this in Alembic here. And we'll call this Run to Baba. Okay. Well, look, we're getting a lot of compliments today. Tina, hello, I wanted to say thank you for these videos. Thank you for saying that. Sometimes we feel like we're speaking into like the void, so we appreciate that for real. Sir Handarelli, you two are amazing. I learned a lot of useful things. Can't always watch online, mostly offline. Thank you all. Thank you again. It's awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys let us know if you guys like these things, because sometimes we have no idea and we just assume it's my mom refreshing YouTube over and over to get the likes up. So let's see if this is going to take a moment. So we're going to export this out, and then we're going to bring it into Unreal. So let's just start setting this up in here. So I'm probably going to have to wait because I think my Unreal will die with Maya open. Just give it a second. All right, so there we go. So now let's save this out. Now that we've kind of put this as part of a new shot called Run to Baba, Baba being dad, of course, we're going to save this Maya file separately. That way we could start breaking up this whole sequence into little chunks for shot modeling, for facial animation, whatever. Okay, so that's now called Run to Baba. I just saved that already, so I don't have to save it again. And let's come over here. Yeah, so you can see it starts moving around much faster. So, okay, so I believe it was this shot here where she turns and sees the dad. Yeah. So this is going to be the shot that I want to use as a base. So I'm just going to duplicate it, and I'll call this Run to Baba. Okay. So let's open that up. And I'll just go into my Alembic folder here. Let's go to new folder. Let's call this Run to Baba. And I'll import that Alembic file. Okay, so import type. We've done this a million times, but just in case. So we're going to merge meshes. This percentage base, we'll set it to no compression. I would like to have this compressed because the file sizes are ginormous, like I've said. But whenever I have had compression, all of a sudden, like a finger will twitch out or something. So I'll leave it uncompressed. Skip empty frames, very important. If you do not have this, said it again in all the other streams, but if you don't have this on, and let's say your animation is starting at frame 500, it's going to have 499 blend shapes in the beginning of non-moving animation, so it'll become extremely slow. Usually will crash out. Find materials, we'll apply materials if they're already in there, which they should be. And let's just import this. So it's going to take a moment. It's a big, Alembic files are huge, and then what we'll do is we'll just throw it into the map and copy the forms. That way it looks up exactly the same as this one does here. Okay. Yeah, run to Baba. It's kind of Baba's fault that she dies at the end, so. So this takes a moment. You know, one thing I always say on our streams is you know, it's not like ZBrush stuff where you're just constantly sculpting and everything is fun and exciting. A lot of this stuff is just moving gigantic files back and forth, or the rendering process, even though it's quote unquote real time, it still takes a moment. And these streams could be boring because of that, but that's just the reality of the process.
Well, even if you are doing stuff in ZBrush, then you got to get it into Unreal.
Yeah.
And you're just staring at it like, okay. It's a lot of. One thing that's different, like working in Unreal and doing real time, is we're working with meshes that are a lot more dense, right? So typically, in our film pipeline, our mesh is usually for everything, including environments, is lower resolution, and then we're displacing stuff, and then we're getting, render time hits. But in this case, all our environments are like nanite, so there are millions and millions of polys, and the only thing that's not like that are characters. So
Yeah.
it's all slower to get everything into the scene. And it takes more time.
Yeah, so some of these are funny. Like, it's amazing you make this live because I understand I'm not alone. That I'm not doing something wrong. So that's cool. Well, I like to hear that because we feel like it's boring. David Olson, I can't change your grade, so don't kiss up. You graduated like 8 years ago. All right, so let's put her in here. So all right, so there she is. So I'm just gonna drag her in there, and I'm gonna throw her into my sequence. And you can see, like, I've already started laying this up. So now it's like, how do you get her in the exact same position? So I'll just drag this into sequencer. I'm gonna select the old one here. And I'll just copy this over here. So the transforms, paste it in there. Let's see. Copy the rotations. That's why I have 2 monitors. So now she should line up. Oh, last thing is I need to connect the animation here. So let's just go to frame 0. It's kind of weird that you have to connect the animation all the time, but that's what it is. So let's see. What did I do wrong here? Something is not working. Okay, so let me see. So that transforms. Let me just check. Copy that. That looks correct. That looks correct. For some reason, they are not lining up, which I don't understand why not. Oh, I know why. I think I know why. So I'm just kind of offsetting the timing here. Why is this not lining up at all? So I might have to open up Maya and see why. I might have an animation layer. All right, so let's see when she turns to see her dad. It's around here. There we go. So yeah, it was just I had it in the wrong place. It's my scene is going crazy slow. That's why it's kind of hard to work on this. Okay, so I think that now they're lining up ish. So let's just go over here. Since this is going to be a new shot, I don't care if it's exact. I'm going to make her invisible here. Sorry about the allergies today, guys. And let's... So you can see it's like just chugging. Okay, so that's it right there. So let's get the camera in position. So, I mean, the camera is in position, but I don't like it. So this is a copy here of my previous sequence. So I'm just going to delete all of these keys here. Let's also set our start point around here. Okay. So we'll just save, adjust our camera a little bit. There we go. It's weird that this scene goes so slow on my computer, but it goes so fast on Tran's. She does have a better computer than I do, but some of the scenes that are really fast on my computer are really slow on hers. So there's something else there. The single biggest thing that drives me insane with Unreal, with Alembic files, is dealing with the pivots. It is the worst thing in the world for me. So, okay, so let's save this position here for the camera. And now she starts running towards her dad. So let's push out. Maintain her kind of in the same spot. So that's our final destination right there. So let's kind of something like that. Okay, so I'll save that right there. Okay, so she turns, she sees the dad, and then the camera tracks after her. Okay, so I need to think about where the father's going to be, because I always like what I call like dirty frames, where you see a little bit of the shoulder of the other character, so something like that. You would see the father in there somehow. That way there's a connection. They're both in the screen at the same time. The problem is she's looking straight ahead and not over here to the side, so I might have to think about how to adjust this. It should be very simple. Like if this were Maya, I would just select her, press F, pivot is centered, and now rotate around this. But the pivot here is somewhere completely far away. So if I press F right now, you can see where I go is just completely somewhere else, which is really annoying. So usually what I do on this scene is I know that there's these ground pebbles everywhere. I'll just select the pebbles around her feet, and now I could rotate easier around that, which is terrible that you have to basically do something like this. The orientating and the pivots and rotating alembics are the worst thing ever. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Thing is, she looks like she's looking straight ahead. So it might not be a good idea to try to put the father in this shot. So let's just do a framing more like this. All right, let's take a look. So let's play that. She calls her dad. What I actually think I'm probably going to do is this. I think it makes more sense that she turns here, we see the dad, and then she starts running up to here. So you can see it's not that long of a run. But I'm going to make the run up here a bit longer by cutting while she's still running, like right around here. And then I think that it should connect to over the shoulder of her, and you see her running towards the father. I think that makes more sense. Okay. So I'm going to save all because my scene's going so slow. Let's close this. So, okay. So that'll be shot 1 that we're missing. So let's do the over the shoulder. So let's go into our sequences. So I'll probably use the same one as a base. So I'll just duplicate this, and we'll just go run to Baba, OS, over shoulder. Click that. Okay, so now that we're in a completely new sequence, but everything is basically the same. Everything is set up exactly the same. Let's go to our camera. I'm going to delete all of these keys once she starts running. So right around here, this is going to be my new start point. Then I'll shift this over. You can see we both have allergies today.
Yep.
Okay, so that'll be the length of the shot. So now let's just adjust our camera and go over the shoulder. So again, what I'll probably do to make my life easier, I'm just going to select the floor. You can see the floor holds up like ridiculously well. So we'll go over the shoulder. We want to maintain her position. So she is going to be right side of the screen. The father will be left side of the screen. Okay, so we rotate like this. Actually, if it's a reverse, it should probably be like this. Okay. So now I could cheat a little bit here because I know that they're going to have a conversation here somewhere. So for now, I'm just going to set a keyframe, but I want to make sure that wherever they have a conversation is an interesting spot. So just so I don't lose my position, I'm going to set a keyframe on the camera. But then I'm going to delete my old keys. So she runs to Baba that is right there. So is it?
Yeah, that shack is. I hate that shack. But whatever, do whatever. But there is a building I assembled next to it, to your left. That is nice, and then that's the. If you go more towards the left, that's the entrance. Or, I mean, the other way.
This way?
Yeah. Like that building is out of focus, but that's where the entrance is.
Are you sure?
Yeah, if it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. It's all.
No, I just don't think. I don't think. Okay, so that's. I see. Okay, so the conversation should be right around there. So what we could do here.
Or I would look to the actual reverse, because that tent looks nice too.
No, what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to rotate her here. So there's going to be some cheating going on here. So I'm just going to position her right over here. These guys here, I don't want them in the shot. So let's just drag these guys into the shot here. And we'll just go actor hidden in game. Okay, so now those guys are invisible. Okay, I'm going to set a keyframe, my pivot under her. Again, it's annoying, but that's just the whole pivot situation in Unreal. And let's go to my first frame. So you could see from one shot to the other, there is no continuity for the run. She's going to be repositioned, but you can't tell because one is a reversal. So I'll do this. And that will be my keyframe. And now she comes running to Baba, wrong place. All right, so let's get rid of that keyframe. So the dad would be right there. Doesn't look that pretty though.
No.
So this might need to be reset dressed slightly because it kind of looks.
Well, how does it look if it's actually across? Like if you actually do the reverse of the wide?
I'm not going to do that right now. It's very hard to find angles. It's going so slow. That even looks more interesting. That area looks more interesting.
It's because that's where the sun is.
Well, you're still going to see that for some of these shots because it's fine. Let's just see how that looks. So she runs to the dad. So let's get the dad in there. I don't have the exact animation for him yet, so let's just use an old one. Let's give it a second. You know what? I already have him in another shot, so I'm just going to copy it from the other shot. So let's just go to my sequences. See, that looks nice right there.
Yeah, that's what you're facing. Whenever you make a new camera, the aperture always looks really low,
Yeah.
and it doesn't match the map.
Well, I haven't created a new camera. Those are all copies of the old camera, so they're the same 1.5. So let's paste that in there. Where is the dad? All right, so let's find Baba. There he is. So you can see the whole pivot thing and why it's such a nightmare. I could adjust it. Of course, I could just come over here, but that just becomes a pain in the ass in itself. But I could totally adjust it. I just wish there was a center pivot where it was smart enough to just look at the model and figure that out. And let's just, Lord. Okay, so let's right click, pivot, set as pivot offset. It's not in the right place still, but it's closer. So again, that's not what he should look like at the moment, but it's okay. We can start just plotting our shots, which is all what we're doing. So I want him to be in the shot a little bit more, so let's move him over a bit. So he would probably, I'd probably use this up to here because this is when he asks, "Where's your sister?" And then you can see she raises her arm like, "I don't know." And like I've said a few times, this is supposed to be our Cain and Abel story with the two sisters. So this is like the famous line about where your brother is, your brother's keeper line. So we're kind of keeping something similar to that. Okay, so let's set that camera position. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so she runs up to him, and right around this spot right here, maybe even before that, like right around here. I want to change the focal pull focus. So let's go to frame 1, and we'll just add a keyframe. So that she's in focus. You can see my computer is just going crazy slow. So she runs right around there. I'm going to start racking focus. So I'll add another keyframe and rack over to the father. And he'll be wearing a mask, and he's not going to have that stupid grin on his face, but it doesn't matter. Okay? He should be looking worried because he doesn't know where the other daughter is. Okay, so he asks where your sister is. So I know that that shot is going to get cut right there. So right before she turns her head, right around here, I'll end the shot. So now we could have our starting point and our end point. You don't have to do that. You could give yourself some more buffer space. Handles, as they're called, but I think I'm pretty certain that that's where I'm going to cut it. So let's see it. I still don't understand why the background looks so boring.
Well, it's blurry. There's not a lot of lighting. I mean, it just looks dark.
So if I go too wide, it still doesn't look that good. They really like need to meet like right in front of this thing.
That one or the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see if I could do that. Kind of annoying, but let's try it. So I'll just select this, and I'm just going to select the camera as well. And let's set a keyframe here. And we'll set our focal length back to 50. I mean, it does look better. It's not amazing still, but let's set that to 50. Maybe what I could do that could be kind of cool is making this shot down on the ground like this. And then basically craning up. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. So we'll have some nice rock sounds there. Okay. So there you go. Where is your sister? All right, so let's save this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's look at some of the questions here. What does S-stream mean?
I would, yeah. Just not.
I don't know what that. I don't know what S-stream means. Just wondering what settings you have used to achieve such an amazing quality. I don't think there's any settings. Everything here is pretty default. I think even my render settings, I haven't changed a single thing because I haven't even looked at like what to do to improve my render quality. So everything is completely default. I think if anything looks good, it's just basic like composition stuff. And okay, so that'll be a shot right there. So we saved it. We saved this already. So now let's make a duplicate, and we'll figure out our framing for her close-up. So we'll duplicate that, run to Baba. So let's do, we'll just call this ala A. That way we know like that's her first close-up in dialogue. So come back over here. So now you can see I duplicated that, and now right away I am in a new sequence, ala A. Everything is set up exactly the same. So I could go to right around here. So make this my out point. I make this my new in point. I'm going to select the rocks under her feet. And find my my hero shot here. Something like that. I'll save the position, and let's adjust our focus. Kind of like that. Okay, so you can see it looks very dark, so we're going to have to put some lights in there to compensate for that. The embers here look really crappy. That's because the settings are a little bit weird. weird at the moment, so we just have to come over here, open up the fire material. And find this, set it to before depth of field. Okay, you can see that looks much better. She looks completely silhouetted. So you can see naturally it looks like some of the light is coming from screen right. So we're going to have to accentuate that. So that's fine, let's do that. So let's do a split here. Okay, and we'll just go to lighting. I always light with spotlights, so I'm just gonna stick with spotlights. Let's see, and I created a point light, so I did something wrong. So just select that. Lights, spotlight. There we go. Okay, let's increase the intensity. And we'll make this a little bit more blue. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of sample the colors that are there. See, I can't go too far because then I hit that boat. Duplicate this guy. So since this is off camera here, I'll make this a firelight on this side. I need to get rid of the volumetrics so that way we don't see this big glowing orb on the side. There you go. So we'll blame a torch off screen for the light on her face. So you gotta be careful not to have her hands casting a shadow on her face. So that's way too orange, so we'll tone that down. I think I want to backlight it or rim light it more. Let's duplicate this light. So this will act like kind of like a bounce light. I'll bring this down a little bit. Okay, so let's see what that's looking like. I think we have to put materials on her at this point because it's kind of looking weird.
Yeah, it's hard to know how it reads.
Yeah. So let's just throw some materials on her. So we'll just start throwing these on here. Let's give it a second. So right now I'm throwing the shaders into the actual, what is this, the geometry node itself. So it takes a second, but it's going to apply it onto all the other scenes that have her in there. So that's why I'm doing it this way. It's much faster just to apply it in the details tab, but then it'll only do it to this one sequence. So I'll just do it this way. And I'm not going to worry about the teeth and stuff at the moment. I just want to make sure I get the big stuff in there. So that's her hair. And then we'll just do the body, and that's it. Because remember, all of this is temporary. Once we have the cameras laid out, I'll go back in and re-export it properly, and then we have to shot model everything and re-export it from that program, resim the clothing. So I don't really care about the shaders being perfect, like having them all on the teeth and everything. I just want to move through this really fast. Okay. So let's just take a look here. So when you do that, you realize she looks terrible. So, okay. Big thing is I just feel that it looks too nightclubby. So I'm going to just diffuse the light by bringing down the source radius so it feels more like a bounce light. Okay, so that's that. The firelight, I think is okay if it's a little bit harsher, but this one definitely I want it to be more from the back and the back side. Okay, we'll make this more orange, that's fine, and then we'll throw a light function on there. So we already have a folder here for light functions. So I could just find like flicker, dramatic, medium, and just throw that in there. So now we have a flicker on her face. Okay, so that's good. This one here is already pretty diffused. Still not crazy about it, so I'm going to push in much closer. Go to frame 1. Let's go to a single view here. Let's turn on our letterbox mask. Remember, there's no facial stuff at the moment, so that makes it look a little bit weird. I do want to show the fire in the background, so let's keep that in there. The other thing I could do is I could go to frame 1. Okay, and then by the last frame here, just push in a little bit. And add a keyframe there. That way we're slowly trucking in as she's talking. Let's offset her over here. Looks really weird when she has no facial expressions on her. She looks very lifeless. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these lights here. Let's turn them on one by one. So that one looks pretty good. Next one. I like that one. Let's just bring that down a little bit. And let's desaturate it a little bit as well. Okay. Next light is this one here. I think that one's the one that sucks. So let's just bring that down pretty drastically to something like that. I don't even know what this one is doing. So, okay, that might be for another shot. So, looks much better. I do wish we had some more interesting stuff in the background. So I'm going to adjust the camera looking down a little bit, which makes sense because this is kind of the POV of the father. So let's adjust that. So let's go to our last frame. There we go. First frame. So let's take a look at that. So remember, no facial expressions at the moment, so it looks funny. Might put something of interest over here, like I really love those sailboats, so might stick something in there. Okay, so let's save this for now. So you can see the side light, what we basically did is we just softened it because it was looking too much like it was like a nightclub. So let me just go to that light and show you. So it was this one here. What we originally had, and let me turn on the settings here, is we had the source radius at 0 and the intensity was much higher. So you can see it feels like there's a light source right next to her. It feels like a disco. So I don't like that. So by bringing up the source radius, you could see it softens the light. It makes it feel like a bounce light. That's why when you go, you see the behind the scenes photos, you see like lights pointing at a gigantic white piece of fabric and you're like, what the hell is that? That's kind of what this is emulating. It's creating a bigger light source kind of, so it's giving a softer shadow. And it makes it feel more like a natural bounce. So I like that. And then I just brought this down because I don't want this to feel like there's a light source right to the side of her. I just want it to feel like, yes, there's a little bit, it's a little bit brighter there, but that's because that's the direction of the light source. Okay, and then our fire. It's flickering a little bit too much for my taste for this shot. So let's just go back to our light radius, and I'm just going to go to one that says subtle. Okay, so hold on. We have a bunch of questions here. So let's go through some of the questions. Um, hello from Jamaica. Hey man, how's it going? Um, I love Jamaican food. They don't have a lot of that in Los Angeles, but I was raised in Miami, and Jamaican jerk chicken is my absolute favorite. We still every year for Thanksgiving make Jamaican jerk turkey because it's the best. Uh, okay, next one. Even though this is unreal because it's not a game but a movie. Have you needed to bake the 3D models before importing? Um,
Well, there is baking, but it's not as low res as a video game.
no,
So we don't
yeah.
have displacement maps. We have normal maps.
But there's probably more geometry on the floor right now than in most feature film sets. Like it's
Yeah.
just a ridiculous amount of geometry. Unreal doesn't care about geometry.
Well, it handles it really well, and our characters are film resolution. They're high
Yeah,
with normal maps for their details.
yeah. So another question. This is part of which course? This is no course. This is just we're making a movie, and we're showing you how we're doing it. I teach 2 classes in Gnomon, look development, and I teach demo
Demo
reel,
reel.
which basically you have to take the program in order to have me as your teacher for that. And Tran teaches 2 classes, texturing characters and
Just texturing.
texturing. Yeah.
So,
And hello from Brazil. Hello. I want to go to Brazil one day. But like I said, I was raised in Miami, which is like Brazil part 2. So I know every bad word in Portuguese. So, okay. So there we go. So we have that. So that's going to be our one reverse shot. So let's go back to so let's see run to Baba. Let's see how that looks with the proper materials. So remember, the cloth is not simulated right now. It's just really ugly, but and that's not going to be exactly what the father looks like. He's not going to have that goofy smile. He's going to look really concerned, and he's not going to be naked. So I like this shot. I think it needs more work, but I like the idea that the camera craning up, showing the ground, which, like I said, I really like how that turned out. So heavy, the amount of geometry on this ground, and it just does not care at all. Okay, so that's our over the shoulder. Let's see our run to Baba here.
that sun doesn't travel very far.
No. All right, so let's start putting these into the edit to make sure they work. So, okay, we have that shot. Run to Baba off screen, or over shoulder, sorry. Let's put that in there. And ala A. So if you notice, I am not editing in sequencer. I literally have one sequence for every shot. That's how I much rather work. Okay. So let me just make sure that these are all being put in the right directory, since these are shots that I have not had to render anything out for before. So this is, just give me 1 second. This is run to Baba. Okay, so this one we'll have. No, I'm not looking at the storyboards off screen. I'm literally making the shots up as we go. Off screen, I just have a lot of settings here that if I have them, oh, where did that go? That if I have them on one screen, I can't work. I need to have two screens. So there's all kinds of things here. So I have like my this here, my outliner, the details, like which is all like your properties. And I would obviously like to have everything so you guys could see everything, but I just won't be able to work that way because I'll end up just having a little screen this big, and then everything else would just be settings. I actually wish I had 3 monitors, just one for sequencer and then one for all my settings. But right now, all I have on my other monitor, or what I'm looking at rather, is I'm just making sure that I'm saving this stuff to the right location. So let's go to, okay, so that's, so this is ala 1. So let's, ala A, sorry. Renders temp. Wait, so that's ala 1. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to save before I kick it off to render. Okay, so that's now rendering. So we'll open up Premiere. And start putting it into the edit. So I didn't storyboard this only because I already knew how I wanted this to be when we did the motion capture. So the motion capture in many ways was my storyboard phase. Okay, so let's look at it again. All right, so that's where we are at. So let's put the other shots in there. So she turns, Baba runs towards the dad. So let's just wait for the render to finish. And remember, there is no facial expressions at the moment. So I'll just show you like an example. So if we look at like last week, where we have a shot like this, her storming out all pissed off. You can see how much expression is on her face here. So you can see there's so much expression on her face here. But if I open the one that we actually did during class.
Or during the stream, yeah.
Well, it's a class.
It's basically class, yeah.
Oh, I know where this is. So this is over here. So this is our very first one. So you can see how dramatically different it is. So I'm going to play it back to back. So the original render, or the original layout. Let me mute this. see it's pretty drastic. This actually looks atrocious.
It looks very scary.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't. I think these are like more like the ones that we actually got in place. But like you could see every one of these. Like let's say this one, okay, the throwing one. So it won't be as drastic because I remember we got this one pretty good. But you could still see. Let me see what I have. So this was the first one that we did in the stream. So let's put them back to back. And then final one. So it's
The
pretty
lighting is
drastic
much nicer.
on the final one, right?
Yeah, it's like really washed out there, and obviously you don't have the performance or the cloth sim.
Yeah, so you can see the face literally does nothing. So keep that in mind when you're seeing the beach stuff that we're doing today. There is no facial stuff on anything, so it makes it look a little bit weird. All right, so let's start bringing these shots in. Jeez, I'm dying of allergies today. Okay, so let's go to my beach. And we'll go to Run to Baba. Okay, let's put that in there. So I have a LUT that I'm going to apply to it just so that I start seeing it kind of similar. All right, so let's get rid of this guy here.
Baba.
So I probably wouldn't call for Baba until,
Oh, look, the lights disappeared.
yeah, that's fun. So cut it to right around here.
Baba.
So she starts slowing down, like right there, that arms opening is a little too distinct. So I might cut right before that. Well, let's try something. Let's leave it for now, because I want the run to feel a little bit longer. Let's go to Run to Baba off screen, or sorry, over shoulder. I keep saying off screen because I use OS also for off screen when screenwriting. OS means off screen. So yeah, it definitely feels like she's slowing down and then running again, which looks weird, so let's fix it.
Baba.
Camera's moving too fast, so we have to adjust that.
Baba.
Yeah, it's not cutting together very nicely right now. So let's see what's going on here. So it might be I need to.
Baba.
There's too much light over here for starters. So let's take a look at why that's happening. I have a suspicion as to why that's happening. I think it has to do with the fact that this scene that I just rendered here, I have all these lights, but I didn't set them up to be spawnable. So they're in all the other shots, and that just looks ugly. So I'm going to select these lights and convert them to spawnable. So now they're only in this one shot. Okay, good. Let's go to our run to Baba over shoulder. Let's go all the way to the end here.
Well, it's technically a frontlit scene too, and we usually don't really like those.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
I do like the shot starting from the floor though.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's a nice edit.
Yeah, I just feel like I need to stay on the floor longer. So I might push this over here. Go to the front. I don't want to deal with her feet too much, so I'm going to kind of adjust it a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. So over here, I'll add a key there. All right, so I think that's going to cut better. You can, and that definitely fixed the light issue because you can see that that's not there anymore. I actually wish she was more silhouetted. So I might try to do something to fix that. Not crazy about this shot. I like the running through the floor or by the floor of the camera, but I don't like that right there. So, okay, so I have to figure something out there. So I might just kick that off to render again. Okay, so let's look at, so she runs, boom, boom, boom. And then let's go to our Ala 1. There's some weird stuff going on here. Like, check this out. Look at this trail that she leaves. Do you see that?
Should play it again. What trail? Oh, you know what? That it's the fog.
Is it?
Yeah. Whenever you rotate around the scene, it takes a moment for the fog to catch up. But I thought that wouldn't be an issue. It's not an issue in in the other shots you did.
Oh, it's in all the shots. It just isn't as noticeable, but I totally spot it. So I need to figure out a workaround for that. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So I'm going to bring her down here. Not crazy about this composition. I'm not crazy about these shots this week, to be totally honest. So
You don't see it so much though in the.
now you see it. Take a look. It's definitely there. See that?
Yes, I just thought there was like some weird motion blur thingy, but. Yeah.
Definitely there.
Baba. Ba.
That's weird.
Yeah. So what I might do for this, let me see, because I'm just not liking this. But let me render it now without that lighting. So I'm just going to turn that off. This one is fine. So it's just run to Baba off screen. Oh, keep saying off screen. I'm stupid. Over shoulder. Okay, so let's save this. I also might have to set the camera to be more linear because we're having an easing in and easing out, and that might be also making it kind of weird. Yeah, this fog issue. There's a couple things. The cool thing is you know that there's a setting for it somewhere. Okay, so you can see that replaced it already. She doesn't have that strong light, so let's just take a look at that.
Hello. Baba.
It's intense, that trail.
It's weird that it's on that one shot in particular. Like, I mean, it's here, but you would think, like, if it was a motion blur issue, that her running would be causing even more of it. Okay, so let's play from the beginning.
Hello. Baba.
So I definitely have to replace the dad because it's hard for me to see past that goofy smile that he has here because tonally it's not working. I also think I might have to go with a longer lens so that when we get to this here, we're tighter on him. So let's do that. Let's see. So maybe bring this. So maybe go for 60.
You have a comment. Hey, Miguel and Tran.
The collection.
Collection is looking dope.
What collection?
The stuff behind me
I
and
know.
behind you.
I know.
Yeah, I could look at my background like,
Me and Justin are collecting nerds. We'd be a terrible influence to each other if we hung out. We'd just blow all our money and encourage each other to spend all our money on toys. Bro, you only live once. You gotta buy it. Buy it. Like if Justin ever asked me, should I buy it, I would say yeah before he's finished the sentence. All right, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's go over here. Shift this a bit. I think Justin's the first person to comment on the toys in 21 streams. Okay, let's see. Father comes in. There we go. Yeah, but the thing is, we don't want him to be confident there. The father has to be freaked out here. Because the whole thing is we need to tie this in here when he sees the daughter. So,
Yeah, it's what's his intention to approach her? If the first look is like, hey, what's up?
yeah.
Then that's not the tone.
Nina nguvu, mimi ni chui.
You see, so that's him looking worried. So that's where she storms out, and that's why we need to have the father be looking for the other daughter. So, yeah. No, but he's supposed to be naked. He's a nudist. No, he's not.
Yeah.
He'll have clothing.
Allah! Baba!
Camera's too fast. Camera's too fast. That's definitely one of the things. What I probably should do is this when I think about it. So he asks her, where's Koa? And then here she raises her hands like this. Like, I don't know. I should probably extend this out. Yeah, I should probably extend this out and keep it over the shoulder until she raises her arms like this, and keep this more on the father so the father could walk even closer, since this is basically his delivery line here. So that's probably what I'll do. Have it go to that, and then a much tighter shot of the father looking upset. So let's take a look at that.
Allah! Baba! Baba!
We could shift this over a tiny bit.
Baba!
I agree with that comment that Baba should be pushed a second.
Allah! Baba!
All right. So yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'm not going to be able to do that now, but that's what I'll end up doing. So just shift this over. Not shift this over. Let's just do that part real quick. So she runs. Boom, 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 boom. Where the hell's your sister? Now I would cut on. You always want to cut on the action. So as she turns like this, that would be my cut. So this will be my new out point. And there you go. So let's render this one out. Let's save because it'll crash. Yes, he is also naked. Jesse cover. I feel like there should be a pause before. Yes, I did add that in there. I agree with that. It's a class for me. Wow. Well, I'm glad. That's cool to hear. So, all right. So let's see how that plays. So I'm gonna shift this out. It's not adding a lot of frames, but so that means I have to cut on that action right there. So she's turning. So like right around there. Put that in there. So she feels like she's turning her head twice. You see what I mean? Like she's doing that. And then, and I just have to cut it right there. Let's give this a couple more frames in the front. So right there. So probably need one extra frame here. There you go. I think I'm going to end up repositioning the shot here. Pretty certain.
Yeah.
I think it needs some more depth.
Allah. Baba.
Okay, so let's just adjust the camera one more time. So I'm just making sure that the end position is in the last frame. Let's take a look. I also want to make sure that the right things are in focus. So here, for example, it doesn't really look like anything is in focus, so let's keep that in focus. Same thing here. Like what is really in focus there? Let's keep that in focus. Starts racking to the father. Let's render that out. I don't think that actually rendered it. It said it did, but that was too fast. So let me try that again. I'm going to put it in another folder. So temp 2. and the father would be wearing his like badass mask. So that's also going to make him look cooler. All right, so let's take a look here. Okay, so let's take a look.
Baba.
So we can start putting in some of the text and the voiceover. So let's go to audio, voiceover, father.
Ala yuko wapi? Ala yuko wapi?
That doesn't sound like it's the right one.
Ala yuko wapi? Ala yuko wapi? Ala yuko wapi?
Here it is.
Okay. Ala yuko wapi Koa? Ala, hivi Koa ameenda wapi? Ala, Koa hivi ameenda wapi?
So usually, so this is the live recording that we did, the voiceover recording. So usually I'll start with the last takes.
We Ala, hivi umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Ala, hivi umeona Koa ameenda wapi? Ala, hivi Koa yuko wapi? Ala, Koa yuko wapi? Ala, Koa ameenda wapi? Ala, hivi umeona Koa ameenda wapi? We Ala, hivi umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Ala, umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
Can you guys hear that okay? Tran, can you hear that?
Yeah, I could totally hear it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's just use this take for now. So let's see.
Ala, umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Ala.
Now she already says Allah. He already says Allah once, so I'm not going to use this part. I'll just use this.
Baba.
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi? Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
And then let's grab her line just to make sure that it all fits okay. I think it's right here.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. 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 Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
So it's her saying she's not her. She's like, where? The father's saying, "Where's your sister?" And she's saying, "She's not my sister. I'm not my sister's keeper."
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
So you can see we have all these different takes. Now it's just finding the right one.
Mimi sio Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Linzi. Sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
So let's start all the way at the end.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio. Mimi sio. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio.
I like this one over here.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
I think it's that one for now at least. So let's go in here. We'll mark our out point and our in point. And then we'll just drag the audio. So it is pretty long here.
Wapi?
So we might have to offset them a little bit.
Wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That works. So let's push this in a little bit more.
Mbona Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio.
Push this out a little bit.
Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Push the volume up.
Ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
I think that's not the right take, but
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
I think she sounds too calm,
Mimi sio mlinzi wa. Mimi sio mlinzi.
too bratty,
Mimi sio mlinzi. Mimi sio.
too
Mimi
bratty.
sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That one might work. Let's try that. So we'll cut it right there, right there. And let's put that in there.
Wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Yeah, that works better. So let's just tighten that up. So I do like that little breathing sound she makes, so I don't want to lose that. So you can see I'm using a little bit of one take, which is this right here. Let's bring this up.
Mimi
And this is all just garbage, so we could just get rid of this, tighten this in. Let's get the dad's audio in there as well.
Mbona Koa ameenda wapi?
Let's tighten this up. So we'll shift this in, give it a little
Koa
second.
ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Let's bring up the volume.
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
I might go with the brattier one of the two. Maybe even brattier than this.
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Put the volume up a little bit more.
I think brattier is better.
Yeah?
Umemwona
Yeah.
Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Which one? Which one do you like?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Mimi sio mlinzi.
That's too bratty.
Sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Something more like that.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu. Sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That sounds like a question.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That one?
I don't know. I kind of like the more extreme ones, but I'm not sure how that cuts together
Well,
with
let's
the
try
father.
it.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Like that one?
Play now.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Yeah, she sounds upset.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That one's good too.
That's too long. I could
Okay.
tell by the waveform.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
That one could work.
Yeah, she sounds annoyed, which is what she is, right?
Yeah, she's a little shit. So all right, so let's put that in there.
Okay.
Mimi sio mlinzi.
Obviously, we have to make her somewhat unlikable so that when the spear goes through her face, you kind of are happy. Kind
Well,
of.
well, it's
Ameenda wapi?
conflicting
Mimi
emotions.
sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Yeah, of course.
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Yeah, definitely better, right?
Yeah.
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
All right, so then let's get the dad in there. So what's the dad say? Let's go to the father. Okay, so this is it.
Nenda sasa kamtafute. Mtafute. Nenda kamtafute. Ah. Si uende ukamtafute sasa.
Kind of like that. Father has to keep his cool for a little bit. Let's try this.
Nenda kamtafute. Si uende ukamtafute sasa. Ah. Nenda kamtafute sasa. Nenda kamtafute.
Okay, so let's cut that, put that in there.
Mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
All right, so you can see, since this is an argument of sorts, they're gonna go at it. We have to get it really tight.
Nenda kamtafute.
So it needs a second more there. It's not even a second, it's more like a frame.
Nenda kamtafute.
I don't like that.
Ah, nenda kamtafute sasa. Si uende ukamtafute sasa.
I think I'm gonna go for this one here. So let's do that.
Si uende ukamtafute sasa. Si uende ukamtafute.
Shift this over a frame. Put that in there.
Dangu.
Si uende ukamtafute sasa.
So, I'm not going to have enough time to do the father reverse shots here, but by next week I should have all this done. But at least we started getting this all in
Baba.
place. So let's play it as we have it right now.
Look who's there. It's Ingrid Vela. Yes.
My mom is funny. See, I told you she's the one, all the likes, it's her just refreshing. All these names that you see here, it's just my mom with different accounts.
Yes.
All right, so let's watch that part real quick. So remember the stuff at the end. None of this, not just the stuff at the end. Nothing has the facial animation or the clothing yet.
Allah!
Baba,
Umemwona Koa ameenda wapi?
mimi sio mlinzi wa dadangu.
Si uende ukamtafute sasa.
That's it. So I'll put the father in. I want him to be pissed. Got to figure out this motion trail issue. Very weird. What would that be? Like, I guess you'd have to do something where it like renders, like it lets it calculate for a few frames.
I don't know. You could try asking Alex because he used a lot of fog
Yeah.
in his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually, I was thinking about this, like this whole scene is like kind of inspired from hanging out at Alex's place, right? Because this is like the stuff that we do, like shoot
It's true. Just throwing stuff on top of stuff.
Baba.
So, all right, well, guys, that's it for this week. Not totally crazy about these shots, but these ones that we did today, but that's part of it. You know, it's not going to get a bunch of shots done in an hour and a half. But they're a good setup, starting point. What I don't like here is I feel like this background just kind of looks. I mean, there's things I do like about it. Like it really feels like a shanty kind of town here, which I think is kind of cool. This shot is fine. It just needs the facial stuff. This one I just think needs the facial stuff. We just have to figure out what's up with that weird blur. And I might just put a boat or something on the side here or here. But yeah. But that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you, Dave Olson. You're the best. My mom. She always supporting. Gary. Thanks for coming in, guys. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Michael, thanks, man. Same. And Justin. You guys should check out Justin's work. Really talented guy, cool dude.
Thank you all.
Ahmed, thank you, sir. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Is it too late to help out on the project? No, it's not. We'll talk about this. I'll message you, Dave. So you should come over. All right. So see you guys and have a good. Thanks for
weekend.
existing. Well, you could thank my mom for that. I had nothing to do with that. That was her 5 minutes of fun, and I'm the receipt. So, yeah. So, all right, guys. So, thank you so much, and I will see you guys around later. So, let me put this little video here. Oh, yeah, if you want to follow our stuff, here it is on Instagram, and yeah, see you guys.